Hi everyone, so today I'm going to be diving into a new project that will utilize the script that I made. If you haven't heard, I came out with a new script on Gumroad called Batch It Up that will batch edit your After Effects comp. So all you have to do is make a template comp and the script will take the info from a CSV file and do all the work from there. And it's free! Actually, it's at a name your own price rate, so please consider tossing $1 or $2 my way. The link is down in the description. I'm going to be working on an athletics graphic today using the Sacred Heart University men's basketball team stats to show you how this works. So without further ado, let's dive in. My process gets broken up into a few parts. So the first thing I'm going to do is collect my data and convert it into a CSV file. So if I open this up here, I have all my player stats. I'm just doing 5 players for now, just to show you how this works quickly, but you can do many more players or rows or whatever you need. The only setup for this that's important, you need to have a name column. This is what your comps are going to be named when your batch is done. And so this will be more clear later, but just know that it has to have name, it can't have a space at the end, it has to be a capital N, it has to say name, not names, etc. Anything else is whatever you need it to be. But then the other thing, if you have a photo, this column needs to be named photo, not photos, capital P in photo. It needs to be this. It's case sensitive. In this photo column, you're going to put the name of your photos that are associated with this row. So if you're using PNGs, use .png at the end. If you're using JPEGs, .jpeg, etc., etc., etc. You're going to be importing your photos into After Effects, into their own little folder. So they just have to be the same name as what's imported into After Effects. So now that all my data is in here, I can actually just close this out and save it as a CSV file. The next thing that I have to do once I made my CSV file, I have to make sure I have all my photos ready. So I jump into Photoshop and I placed all of my player photos here in their own layers, and I actually even cut them out. I went the extra mile. You don't have to do this, obviously, but if you want to stylize them or anything like that, now is the time to do it. And this is all obviously in one file, and then they're all each in their individual layers, and I'll tell you why in a sec. So once I have this all cut out and my layers are ready to be exported, I go to File, Export, and then I do Layers to Files. And then I, choose the destination. I say what the file type I want to be, so I can say PNG, keep the transparency, and then I hit Run, and then it will export them to this folder with the PNG using the layer name here. I also want to make sure that this file name prefix is deleted, and then once I run it, it'll have the correct name because it'll be the name of this layer. If you're using photos, you do need a placeholder photo. So my placeholder photo is just the mascot for Sacred Heart University. But you do need a placeholder, and it needs to be named placeholder. There's more specific stuff about that, and I'll get to that in a second. Okay, so once my photos are exported from Photoshop, I can now bring them into After Effects. And you can see I just renamed this folder A, just something really simple and easy to find later. Here's all my photos in there. And then now I can get to designing. I want to make a card flip animation, so I'm going to be making my template first. So I start by making a 5x7 comp. So this is 5x7, and I'm going to rename it _ template 1. And I'm going to go ahead and just put it into its own folder. And I'm going to rename the folder T1 output. So I know that this is my output for template 1. Because when you run the script and it replaces all of the stuff in your template, all of the new files get put into its own little subfolder. So I like to put it just right into its own folder automatically. And I put an underscore in the name so that it stays at the top and it's just easy to find. So for the sake of time in this tutorial, I'm actually just going to go into FreePic and search up like sports card, like this one is good. And then when I open it in Illustrator, I'm going to use my Overlord plugin to just send it straight to After Effects. All objects are in there, nice and pretty. I'm going to make a new null so that it just lines up. I do usually natively make designs just straight in After Effects, but for the sake of time, I decided just to use this free pick sample. I have my base all set up here, so now I'm going to add some of the stuff that is going to be replaced for each player. So for starters, I'm going to have the name. And I'm just going to do some code on the scale so that no matter how long the player's name is, it will always fit in this box. So with this simple thing, which I shamelessly took from Baller Effects, now no matter how long my name is, it will always be in this box. So in my CSV file, the full name of the player is in this player name column. So I need to rename this layer player name so it matches the column header. So all I need to do is click enter on this layer, Control V, and now the script will know to replace this layer with the player's full name. Now I also want to add the player's number in here. And again, as you can see, the text that I'm using does not match the column header. It's just the layer name that needs to match the column header. So again, I rename this number because that's what's in my CSV file. And then finally, I want to add my placeholder photo in here. And I'm just going to place this here. So once this is placed where I want, I need to make sure that my placeholder is actually named placeholder.jpg. It's just a little quirk of the script, so it just needs to be placeholder.jpg. And again, it doesn't have to be a JPEG. This is a PNG, but as long as the layer is named placeholder.jpg, this is going to work. And with a few details added, I'm ready for my script to be run for individual player's name. So you can see I didn't use all of my columns. This is just going to be the card for them, like their player card, and then I'm going to have a different composition for their stats. So let me just run this to show you how it works. So first I am going to run my script. And first it's going to ask me the absolute path of my CSV file, so where it's located on my computer. So I can actually just paste this here. So you can see it's located in my D drive in a folder called tut, script tutorial, shoe, men's basketball stats.csv. Okay. Now it's asking me where the folder with my photos are stored in After Effects. So I labeled this A, so I'm just going to type A. And then one of the other little quirks of this is that it makes a blank comp. I'm planning on fixing that in future iterations, but right now it makes a blank comp, and that's pretty easy. I just delete. And now when I open this, you can see all of my players changed. So I might have to move this for this guy, but that was poor planning on my part. But yeah, this is all set, all ready to go. So with that, I am going to make a new template, and that is going to be my stats comp. So if I just jump to this, I made another comp that's 7x5 in a similar folder as my T1. So it's just T2 output, so template 2. So then my plan for this is going to animate out of the card. So I'm just going to do a really simple animation with some of my stats. Also, you'll probably notice to keep everything organized, I'm also changing the color of the layers that will be changed by the CSV file to yellow, just so that they're easier to find, and it just keeps everything a little bit more organized. So once this animation is done and my layers are all labeled correctly based on my CSV file, I am going to run my script again. Now, obviously I don't have a placeholder photo in here, so it's going to give me an error message, but that's okay. It'll still work. And you'll see I have another empty layer, and there it is. There's all my stats for each of my players. Now, to avoid that glitch where it's like, oh, we can't find the placeholder, what you can do is, and I can just delete these and rerun it. What I can do is actually add a null that's labeled placeholder, placeholder.jpg. And now when I run the script, it runs no problem. If you don't have any photos for yours and you do use the null, but you don't have any folders with any like photos or anything, just put a random file name or a random letter or anything and it should be fine. Okay, so this is all done and I am ready to start animating. So I will actually just be using my templates for now, and then making this actually into an essential graphic, which I will get to later. Oh, before I start animating, I actually want to make a back version of this, because what I'm going to do is have it come in, flip, and then, yeah, so I just need a back for this. So I just made the back look like this. It'll do for now. And so now I am really ready to start animating. So I'm just gonna zip right through this. Okay, so this is exactly how I want mine to look. Now, you could be animating yours already and, you know, taking each individual player and making their own animation, but I'm going to turn this into an essential graphic so I can pass this off to a project manager and they can choose whichever one of these players that they need at any given point. So to do that, I am going to make a new adjustment layer in my composition. Put it to the top here, and I'm going to add a drop-down menu control. And then I'm going to lock this so I can easily access it later. Now going back into my projects panel, I'm going to take my template 1 and I'm just going to click and drag it to make a new pre-comp. And then I'm going to select all of my players and I'm going to drag them on top of my template. Then I'm going to rename this comp all player cards. So now I'm going to go back into my effects panel and I am going to edit. And then I'm going to rename manually each of these items so that they match the order of my players. And then I'm going to hit OK. And then for my first layer, I'm going to hit T and Alt-click on the stopwatch. I'm going to make a new reference to my drop-down menu. Pick whip here, colon, and then I'm going to make an if-else statement. So if the drop-down menu equals, and to say equals in this, it is equals equals. So if the drop-down menu equals the index number of this layer, then please make this layer 100% opacity. Otherwise, or else, make it 0. And colon. All right. So now to really see if this works, I'm going to copy this. So I just press Control-C, Control-V on all of these. And now I should be able to flip right through all of these. There we go. And now I'm going to do the same thing with my template 2. So I'm going to drag this into its own pre-comp. I'm going to rename this pre-comp as all player stats. Click and drag all of these on top of the template. And then I can actually just paste that opacity value again. And we should be good. So back in my main comp, instead of template 1, I'm going to click on template 1 and replace it with all player cards. So again, Alt-click and drag. Template 2, same thing, click and drag the all player stats. So now my drop-down menu will change each person. So now I'm going to open the Essential Graphics panel, open this up, and click and drag the menu. Export motion graphics template. Add any keywords that will make it easy to find in the Essential Graphics panel in Premiere. And then you can just hit OK to export. From there, wherever you saved it on your drive, you could just click and drag it into Premiere, and it is fully editable. So here I'm just clicking and dragging into Premiere, and then I'm just gonna put this to show you. And there you go. And now when I go into here or even into the Essential Graphics panel, I have this drop down menu, and I could change it as needed. And I could duplicate this and change it to a different person. So there you go. That was a sample project from start to finish using the script that I made. I hope you found this helpful. I hope you find the script helpful. Once again, it's on Gumroad if you want to try it out for free. If you found this video helpful, please consider giving it a like and subscribe. And of course, feel free to leave a comment with any questions or anything else you might want to see in a future video.